I wish to, first of all, congratulate the Honorable Dr. Ashley Singh and his competent staff. They're preparing a budget that is realistic, one that speaks to the issues facing our population, and one that seeks to bring balance in terms of income distribution and balance in terms of the distribution of the national pie of wealth. And for this, all of us must congratulate the Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, there are lots of statements that were made prior to the commencement of these debates today. The Honorable Carl Greenwich led those controversial statements in the newspaper, referring to the debates that we are engaging today as maybe a period of bloody war. And he also today took us down a road of outlining broad topics, but not pointing to a single measure, to a single policy, to a single to see, or his party would like to see in the national budget. Mr. Speaker, when you are the lead speaker in relation to a budget that is presented, you have the responsibility of presenting the alternative you so wish to present. Today, Mr. Speaker, I appeal to every single media house that is present here to carry the Honorable Carl Greenwich's speech word for word and let the people out there judge better. Mr. Speaker, I must deal with the issue of context and how is the national budget crafted. The budget is informed by a number of national strategies that the entire population were consulted on, including the National Development Strategy, the Public Sector Investment Program, the Low Carbon Development Strategy, and the manifesto of the political party that is elected to government and elected by the people to represent their interests. And I want to correct something in this house. The honorable member, Mr. Carl Greenwich, keep referring to the combined impact of the combined force in the opposition. I am going to say
one second, Mr. Greenwich.
I heard we call making a such thing.
Mr. Speaker, the last time we checked, the PVP Civic holds 32 seats in this National Assembly. The APNU, 26 seats. And the AFC, 7 seats. The majority party in the National Assembly is the But guess what, Mr. Speaker? When we cry foul, we must also let the population know that this majority party does not hold even the deputy speaker position. When we were in majority, the opposition always held the position. Mr. Speaker, I hope I get
Allow Mr. Ali to make his presentation, please.
Mr. Speaker,
Allow Mr. Ali to make his presentation.
all of us bear responsibility in here. And on this side of the house, we knew it would have been irresponsible not to allow the opposition to hold the post of Deputy Speaker when we had the majority. And in the interest of the people of this country, we did the responsible thing. substance of the matter we are here to debate on today. And that is in relation to the national budget of Guyana 2014. And this budget that has widespread support in our population, and unlike the honorable member, Mr. Calvin, who said that the budget has sent our population into silence, only in the Guyana Chronicle headline yesterday I read PSC support measures in the national budget. It is the honorable member, Mr. Calvin, saying that the members of the Private Sector Commission does not matter, or their views in relation to the budget does not matter. Mr. Speaker,
Honourable members, Mr. Brennan is trying to speak to me. I need to hear. You may take a seat, Mr. Ali.
Can I just urge that our colleagues stick to the truth? I made no such statement.
Nobody
And if he doesn't have anything to say, let him find something.
Honourable members, Mr. Ali was posing some questions. I know that he's deliberately said that you stated an untruth. Go ahead, Mr. Ali.
yes, Mr. Speaker, that's fundamental of debating. Mr. Speaker, we are today enjoying in this country positive economic growth of 5.2%. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable Minister of Finance has the distinction of sitting as the Minister with responsibility for the economy and overseeing Guyana growing consecutively for 8 years with positive economic growth. Mr. Speaker, and we must be responsible when we make public pronouncement, especially on TV programs. I was looking at the Spotlight program, and an honorable member referred to the ministers and accountants, and one was questioning the ability of this accountant in the preparation of the national budget. But, Mr. Speaker, this accountant, the Honorable Dr. Ashley Singh, has presided over 8 consecutive years of economic growth. I rather have an accountant like that presenting my budget than the economists who took us to the poorest country in this country. Mr. Speaker, let us look at what the international community has to say. Guyana in 2013 is the highest. Guyana in 2013 is the highest in terms of our growth in the Caribbean, according to a 2013 report by ECLA. And this is what that report had to say. Economic and social panorama of the community of Latin America and Caribbean states. And I quote, based on this report, Caribbean economies recorded the following growth rates for 2013. Jamaica, 0.1%. Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts, Nevis, Bahamas, Belize, 1.6%. St. Lucia, 1.1%. Grenada, Antigua, and Barbuda, 1.5%. Dominica, negative 0.5%. Barbados, negative 0.7%. And Guyana, 5.2%. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member Calvanes questioned our numbers. Inflation is 0.9%. But what is the justification for his questioning? Where is your alternative analysis? Where are your numbers? Where are your analysis? Where are your reports? What are you referring to, Honorable Member? We are referring to international reports, independent reports, and the national reports generated by the competent professional staff that work in the public service. Mr. Speaker, another important area that the ECLAC report alluded to earlier was the growth in domestic credit. And in that context, this is what the report had to say. The growth in domestic credit surpassed other countries in the Caribbean. During 2013, domestic credit in Guyana expanded by 24.2%, compared to St. Kitts and Nevis, negative 23.4%. Trinidad and Tobago, negative 12.1%. Belize, negative 0.8%. Antigua and Barbuda, negative 6.8%. Bahamas, 1.7%. Jamaica, 17.7%. This is the type of economic performance that should make all of us as Guyanese proud, that should make us happy, that should make us understand that we live in a country that is progressing, a country that is improving, a country that is creating wealth. But what do we see? Let me take you to what we see. Mr. Speaker, I want to outline to you some of the headlines. I want to outline to you some of the headlines in regional newspapers. Bajans taken for a ride. Source, Nation newspaper, February 6, 2014. The Bajan government is borrowing $14 million per month to pay 7,000 casual workers. Puerto Rico slides towards insolvency. St. Lucia PM calls for reduction in government spending because they don't have the resources. Wage freeze would go beyond 2017 Jamaica. Grenada government unable to pay arrears to public servants. And this is what, Honorable Speaker, this is what Trinidad Prime Minister had to say. Build homes, create jobs. Build home, create jobs. What that reminds you of, Mr. Speaker? What tells you about this government that will have created infrastructure for 30,000 new homes in the last 4 years alone. And this is what the Prime Minister had to say. 30,000 people in the construction sector are currently jobless. The Prime Minister went on, the central bank governor is saying that the government needs to spend. The government needs to invest in infrastructure. And as we do that, we create jobs. And as we create jobs, that goes into the multiply effect that stimulates the economy. And here is what the Honorable Member, Mr. Carl Benage, is saying. Size doesn't matter. Well, the size matter. It's an old age debate, Mr. Speaker. If we don't have the size in the terms of the fiscal space, we will not be able to invest in infrastructure, we will not be able to create the jobs, and we will not be able to create the wealth. It is basic economics. Mr. Speaker, I will tell you, Mr. Speaker, in the construction sector, this is what the Honorable Prime Minister is saying. In the construction sector, I'm advised that 30,000 people are unemployed. And we have so many houses to build. And we will build homes and we will provide these jobs. Well, Mr. Speaker, we also want to send the same message. Here in Guyana, we will build homes. We will build hospitals. We will build schools. We will build hydropower. Because we understand the importance of this for economy. Mr. Speaker, we are not going to live without understanding the basic elements of growth and development. We have a responsibility as a government, and we are going to ensure we execute that responsibility in developing our people and our country. Mr. Speaker, I continue. Trinidad Express newspaper, 24,700 news jobs. Barbados job cut politics. Some 3,000 government workers. I will answer every single question. Consequently, 3,000 government workers are scheduled for retrenchment within the first quarter of 2014. Mr. Speaker, this is the Barbados. We are saying, Mr. Speaker, here, we're talking about increases here in Barbados. Jobs, save employment, and that is why, Mr. Speaker, that is why the subsidies are so important. Because in this government, we are not going to preside over the destruction of jobs. We are going to sustain jobs. Mr. Speaker, let the opposition point to one period of the stewardship under the PP civic government when we lost 12,000 jobs, when we lost 5,000 jobs, when we lost 200 jobs. You will find no evidence to support that. That tells you, Mr. Speaker, that we have run a tight ship here. We have run a tight ship. So, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to our economic performance, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to our economic performance,
I think, Minister Ali, it was a colleague in the back who provided an answer to one of the questions I thought you should have answered. Why people are leaving?
Mr. Speaker,
That is on them to the ground. So it wasn't a job.
Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying, when it comes to the management of our economy, the Honorable Minister of Finance is standing on solid rock. Contrary, when it comes to his legacy in the way he managed the economy, the Honorable Cabinet is standing on sinking sand. Sinking sand. Mr. Speaker, this is what they say. In Trinidad, residents want jobs, infrastructure. They want jobs through infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, let us look at some of our local headlines. I'm going to look at some of our local headlines now. One, budget cuts, delay hinterland development. This government providing money for hinterland development. Kaitor News, 23rd October 2013. Budget cuts, delay hinterland development. Who cut the budget? Not the government. Who want to create a better Guyana? This government. Who want to destroy that? The joint opposition. The second headline, Gina begins staff rotation as budget cut bites. Third headline, Morley Brazil pull out. Opposition to stop playing politics with project gains towards economic development. Dr. Lumchen. Kaitor News. Investors' confidence in Guyana under political attack. Dr. Lumchen warns. Guyana Chronicle, 8th of January 2014. Opposition continues to hold socio-economic project to ransom. Opposition cut the budgetary allocation for specialty hospital. Mind-boggling. Mr. Speaker, these are some of the headlines that our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean are reading about us. You know what they're saying? They're saying, what's wrong with those people? We want these investments. We want these projects. Why are they denying the people of Guyana those projects? Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let us look at the issue of job creation. And I will give a few examples. The Amaris Falls Hydro Project. This project will save consumers $3.5 billion over 20 years. This project will reduce our fuel import bill by 25%. It would add 6 cumulative points to our GDP. It will allow the generation of energy through 100% renewable. It would create thousands of jobs, thousands of new business, thousands of new industries in the manufacturing sector. And guess what? Guess what, Mr. Speaker? This opposition that cries so loud that they care about job creation has blocked this project. The same opposition that is speaking about job creation has blocked this project. Let us look at the CGI expansion. The CGI expansion is another project that will create new opportunities, new jobs, expand our economy. And guess what? This opposition blocked that project. So, how can this opposition? How can this opposition present the moral authority to speak on job creation when the fundamental investments that are being made by this government to create those opportunities are being denied? You know why they're being denied? Mr. Speaker, they are being denied because of the combined power of one. The combined power of one. Mr. Speaker, that is the attitude. That is the attitude. The leading member of AFC is saying, don't bother with him, that will be caught. So, the debates and the facts that we present here does not matter to him. Mr. Speaker, let us look at the investment in industrial development. An investment of $200 million is earmarked for the Belvedere industrial site and the Lethem industrial site. And let me take you, Mr. Speaker, through the mathematical scenario, the economics. In Belvedere, Mr. Speaker, 21 new blocks will be available. The honorable member does not even know where Belvedere is. That's how lost they are over there. Mr. Speaker, how can they represent the people when they don't even know where the communities are? Mr. Speaker, I am shocked. And this honorable member served in the army at the highest level and doesn't know where the community is. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I notice you're offering no protection.
You seem to be reveling, actually, in what is going on. And I notice the Minister of Finance seems to be directed an orchestra. And anytime his hand does like this, Kumar's voice goes up. These are good hands, man. man. You go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I have no problem. I can handle any level of roughness that comes by. I was just pointing out to you. Mr. Speaker, if you look at an average investment, if you look at an average investment of $18 million every plot at Belvedere, you will see that in that one initiative, $378 million will be spent. And Mr. Speaker, on an average, if 20 persons are employed for each development, 420 direct new jobs will be created during construction. And Mr. Speaker, when this industrial estate is completed, it will create approximately 525 new direct jobs for the people in Belvedere and Region 6. This is economic expansion. This is diversification. This is creation of wealth. And this definitely is a project that brings betterment for all Guyanese. Mr. Speaker, let us look at LATAM. In LATAM, we'll invest $180 million for 140 plots. We assume, based on the proposals, that an average of $24 million will be invested in each plot. That would mean that private investment would be in excess of $3.3 billion in LATAM. Mr. Speaker, this will create direct employment for 2,800 persons. Let us assume that an average employee earns $50,000. That would mean that in LATAM, we will be able to generate in that economy $174 million every month. Mr. Speaker, let us look at some of the impact in terms of our social expenditure. The Honorable Member Carl Benich asked, where are the impacts? What is the measurement? And I wish to point to some of that. Extreme poverty, according to the IMF, has reduced. It has reduced from where you left it, Honorable Member, and it has reduced substantially from where you left it. Mr. Speaker, Guyana has achieved the MDG related to nutrition, child health, eradicating extreme poverty and hunger, and universal primary education. This is where the investments went. You ask for impact, I'm giving you the impact. The Human Development Index rose from 0.606 in 2000 to 0.633 in 2011. Mr. Speaker, you want to know about impact? Guyana is now categorized as medium human development. Impact, honorable member. Mr. Speaker, infant mortality in 1999 was 25.6 per thousand. Today it is 12.9 impact. Under 5 mortality in 1999 was 26 per thousand. Now it's 15 per thousand impact. Mr. Speaker, 1 year old in 1989, Mr. Speaker, in 1989 we couldn't even find the statistics. Mr. Speaker, 1 year old immunized against, Mr. Speaker, improvement in number of physicians and nurses. In 1999, it was 2.6. In 2013, it is 9.5. Number of nurses per 10,000 population. In 1999, it was 8.6. Today, it is 15.3. Impact. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that is what the opposition is reducing this budget to. Unsubstantiated statements, riddled with inaccuracies. Mr. Speaker, let us look. Mr. Speaker, let us look at another measure in the budget. Let us look at the Rural Development Fund. And in this fund, $1 billion. And Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member, Mr. Moses Nagabu, to refer to this as a slush fund. I find this insulting. You cannot refer, Mr. Speaker, you cannot refer to funds set aside for single parents, vulnerable group, and people who need these funds for the existence of such funds. That is insulting. Mr. Speaker, it is insulting for any member in this House to refer to funds like this as a slush fund. We must stay away. Mr. Speaker, we must stay away from such irresponsibility. Mr. Speaker, this $1 billion fund, if we look, Mr. Speaker, if we look at the iPad ratio, which is that $282,000 create one new employment, then this $1 billion would create approximately 3,546 new jobs.
Honourable Minister, your time is up. You require extension, please. Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the honourable member be given 15 minutes to continue his presentation.
Thank you. Honourable Member, please proceed. You have 15 minutes to continue.
Mr. Speaker, according to the IPED report, every $282,000 create one new job. So this $1 billion would create 3,546 new jobs. And Mr. Speaker, you want to know where the money is going? I'll tell you. If we spend $100 million in leg one, and they have 3,300 persons in leg one, let us assume that the household size is 4. That means we have 825 households. Mr. Speaker, if we are to divide an investment of $100 million by the household, it would mean that we'll be investing $121,000 per household. Mr. Speaker, if we take this down further, for every household, for every 2.3 household in leg one, we'll be creating one new job. Mr. Speaker, this would mean that in leg one, hello, Mr. Speaker, I wish to tell the honourable member, the people in leg one must not be reduced to cutting grass. They are hard. Mr. Speaker, the honourable member Moses Nagabu must apologize to the people.
Okay, well, we're not going to use words as nonsense and so forth. Let's go ahead.
Speaker, I want to put in my 2 cents here. I am a native of that water. And I take offense at the honorable member, Mr. Nadu, making fun of the people of that water. I don't understand where there is everything.
One second, please, Mr. D. Something, when I was asked by Honorable Minister, Mr. Ben, am I going to be prohibiting heckling? It would appear that the House wanted the right to heckle. If a member feels slighted or offended, that is the basis of which we function in this House. We have to have thick skins. If we are offended by Mr. Nagamutu because of something he said during heckling, we take it up with him outside of the House. If it is something, as I said, that goes to a person personally, their family or so, but other members, if a member says something about the people of Barbies, I'm a Barbician, but I may be offended, but that person will stand or fall by the statement of the next campaign, but we will proceed with this debate. We will proceed with this debate.
Mr. Speaker, this investment will create 355 new jobs in that one. Mr. Speaker, if we assume that the average income of each new employment is $60,000 per month, then, Mr. Speaker, in Lakewood will be creating $21.3 million every month in that category. New money to the economy. Mr. Speaker, this would mean that for a year we'll be creating new wealth in Lakewood to the value of $255.6 million per annum. Mr. Speaker, and this will be transposed to many other communities across this country. And Mr. Speaker, it's not whether we intend to do it, we are going to do it. Mr. Speaker, let us look at the water sector. Mr. Speaker, there's a proposed spending in the water sector of $2.5 billion. The budget has provided in the water sector $2.5 billion. $1.135 million is allocated to coastal program billion. That would mean, Mr. Speaker, that this government will be investing on behalf of every citizen on the coast $9,000 to improve the water situation. In Linden, Mr. Speaker, we'll be spending $627 million. $627 million. Mr. Speaker, that is a capital investment of $30,000. In the hinterland, we'll be spending $190 million. That is a per capita investment of $31,000. In Georgetown, we'll be spending $600 million, a per capita investment of $11,000. What will be the output of these investments? Mr. Speaker, we'll have 5 new wells, construction of 2 new water treatment plants, 12,000 new connections, an upgrade of 6,000 existing connections. What then will be the impact of the output? Mr. Speaker, the impact to the economy would be as follows. The creation of direct investment of $2.9 billion with value added impact of $1.3 billion. The total impact is estimated at $4.2 billion. 20,000 persons will benefit from new service connection. 5, demand will be created for 5,500 sacks of cement. Demand will be created for 1,600 loads of sand. Demand will be created for 3,470 cubic meters of stone. 3,000 meters of timber, 22 lengths of pipes, 2,200 pipe fittings. Treated water coverage will move from 49% to 65%. Mr. Speaker, and these impact we should all laud. Who will benefit from the demand for sand? The truckers, the sandpit operators, the laborers. Who will benefit from the production of pipe? The engineers, the mechanics. Mr. Speaker, ultimately, Mr. Speaker, our Guyanese brothers and sisters will be the beneficiaries of Budget 2014. Let us look at housing. 5,900 house lots to be distributed. Upgrade of 45 kilometers of existing roads in 36 villages, such as Sapphire, Barnwell, Diamond, Enmore, Eccles, Grove. Construction of 176 core homes. Construction of 100 single flat homes. Distribution of 134 subsidy to low-income families. Distribution of 54 subsidies for hinterland families. 71 low-income families will benefit from improved sanitation. These are the type of investment that will ensure a better quality of life for Guyanese brothers and sisters all across Guyana. Mr. Speaker, what will be the impact? The proposing spending will result in direct investment in our economy of $4.4 billion, with value-added impact of $1.98 billion. Total spending will be in excess of $6.38 billion. The creation of direct employment for more than 1,700 persons with various skills, including engineering, architects, surveyors, foremen, operators, drivers, masons, carpenters, plumbers, electricians. This is what the Honorable Prime Minister of Trinidad is trying to get our government to do. Mr. Speaker, we are doing it here, and we should be proud of doing it.
Incidentally, sir, she's just dismissed another minister.
Mr. Speaker, as you're aware, the ministers in this civic government are of high conduct and excellent. Mr. Speaker, we will never act reckless. We will never be reckless. We need sober conduct. Mr. Speaker,
we need for the minister to themselves from the building. Your time will not be diminished. If the House takes 5 minutes instead of long, you will get an extra 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I look forward for the 30 minutes. Mr. Speaker, in 2013, Guyana has been featured in regional and international publications, such as Caribbean Beat, Sling Magazine, 16th Boarding Population, Cox and Kings, and the Guardian UK. We reached, Mr.
The
Speaker.
BBC also 2 weeks ago said this is one of the best destinations to come.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for making that very important point. Mr. Speaker, Fortune magazine, Fortune 500 magazine, reaching over 5 million people. Mr. Speaker, we have been featured in documentaries and other magazines reaching more than 15 million people globally, and we should be proud of that. Mr. Speaker, Gold Rush, I will tell you, patience. Mr. Speaker, Gold Rush, Mr. Speaker, Gold Rush, which was voted the #1 most watched show in America in 2012, did their entire 10 episode in Guyana. Entire 10 episodes. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? That investment was in excess of $2 billion. Mr. Speaker, this one investment was in excess of $2 billion. Mr. Speaker, in 2014, Guyana has been referred to as the best kept secret of South America by the prestigious National Geographic Travel magazine, and is among the 20 destinations being touted to visit in 2014. The list reflects what is authentic, culturally rich, sustainable, and Mr. Speaker, in 2013, we had a 135% increase in the number of yachts that came to Guyana. To the extent, Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, to the extent, Mr. Speaker, this is how we treat the tourism sector. When we are outlining our plans, the colonel is calling on time. Mr. Speaker, when we speak about tourism, time should not limit us. Mr. Speaker, in 2014, Mr. Speaker, in 2014, we already had 1 cruise ship. By the end of this year, we expect another 3 cruise ships. Mr. Speaker, in 2013, total investment in the tourism sector was $53,905 million. And I want to congratulate the private sector of Guyana and all those foreign investors for investing $53.9 billion in the tourism sector. Mr. Speaker, 18 tourism projects were completed. Total jobs created was 626. In 2014, total value of investment in the sector is projected at $70 billion with 30 new projects. Mr. Speaker, this will create a further 300 new jobs in the tourism sector. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, 4 new hotels were completed in 2013. In addition to the Marriott, we can now boast of Parkview, Millennium Owner, ROE Enterprise, and Rupununi Eco Hotel. Mr. Speaker, the hotels will create approximately 399 rooms. And at 2 persons per room, we're talking of more than 1,000 new jobs being created in the tourism sector. Mr. Speaker, I want to touch briefly.
Sir, you have 5 minutes within which to conclude your presentation.
I want to touch briefly on the issue of sugar. And there are a lot of debate concerning this important national issue. Mr. Speaker, we in this government would never ever contemplate any system that would see the destruction of jobs, that would see the destruction of our industry. And Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member Calvinage referred to this period and what the government did then. Mr. Speaker, just for the records, I want to remind the Honorable Member what occurred.
What happened to EU money?
Can you remember we had an estate in Diamond? Honorable Member, who closed that estate? Can you remember we had an estate in Lenora? Honorable Member, who closed that estate? Honorable Speaker, can you remember we had an estate at Versailles? Who closed that estate? Mr. Speaker, there is one. Mr. Speaker, there is one constant name in the question as to who closes the estate. How is the Honorable Carl back to Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, thank you. I believe that the speaker is fabricating information. When was it? And what estates have been closed in this country? Which ones have I been associated with? I am not aware of having closed any, so I don't know what to start with. I'm saying he's making it up. I'm saying he's making it up. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, allow me to. Honorable Mr. Ali, you stated that one name is associated with the closure of all these estates, and that name is Carl. And the member rightfully has challenged that unless you can show that he presided over, directed, or authorized closure of these estates, I believe that you need to reward that. No, there's no need for an apology. But we withdraw it.
Mr. Speaker, I always follow your advice. And the Honorable Member indeed said that he was part of that government. And he was part of the system and government.
That formulation is acceptable.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, for us, the investment in the sugar industry is critical to sustain 18,000 families. The investment in the sugar industry will secure the livelihood of 74,000 people. The investment in the sugar industry will secure the livelihood of 120,000 indirectly. Mr. Speaker, and the 194,000 people that benefit directly and indirectly from this sector must be supported and deserve every single cent of subsidy that we are putting in the sugar industry. Mr. Speaker, we are not saying, Mr. Speaker, we understand the importance of the sector. We are not saying that we must not look at the industry in a holistic manner, but we must allow the mechanisms that are there to function. We cannot want to jump in the media. We cannot jump in the media where we have an avenue through the subcommittee on the economic affairs, economic services subcommittee, and on many occasions, Mr. Speaker, on many occasions, the matter of Gaisuku came before that subcommittee. And we have a responsibility to air our views there. But Mr. Speaker, we seem
I'm not aware of it coming before the committee. When is he speaking about this?
No, Mr. President, that would not be a valid point of order. I believe what the member was saying that many of the matters which are being discussed in public could be brought for consideration by the Committee of Privileges, by the Committee of Economic Services. Sorry, that is what my understanding was. That many of the matters being discussed on the outside of this house could be matters that could be brought before. Sorry.
Mr. Speaker, you have been talking to me.
Let me hear Mr. Grenade, please. Sorry.
Go ahead to challenge you, Mr. Speaker.
No,
Let me just say, I heard him say that these matters had been brought to the committee. I'm on that committee, and they have not been brought.
Could I be heard, Mr. Greenwich? Mr. Greenwich is right in the sense that, are you speaking about this 10th Parliament? And I believe Mr. Greenwich would be right in that sense. So please qualify, Mr. Minister.
No, Mr. Speaker, in the 9th Parliament, I was also a member of that subcommittee. I was brought many times before that.
Qualified, thank you.
Mr. Speaker, it is important for us to send a positive message to the population. It's important for us to know, to let the people in the sugar sector understand that we in the National Assembly will support their interests. We must let them understand that we will make the necessary intervention that will secure the industry and in turn secure their jobs. That is a moral responsibility we have in this National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I conclude by saying the Honorable Dr. Ashley Singh and his team at the Ministry of Finance has presented to this nation, has presented to our brothers and sisters out there, has presented to the people of Guyana a budget that will indeed make Guyana a better place, make our life better, make our people life better. And in so doing, Mr. Speaker, I not only commend the budget and the Honorable Minister, but I can see the impact of the budget. The impact of the budget, it even silenced the Honorable Carl Greenwich. He had not much to say about the budget. Mr. Speaker, he has not only strayed from the budget, he has strayed from the budget. But, Mr. Speaker, I hope when the time comes for him to support the interventions for our people, he would not stray away and vote against it, but support those interventions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Keith Scott to make his presentation.
Thank you, sir. Speaker, allow me, sir, to express my appreciation to you for affording parliamentarians and the parliamentary staff the opportunity to pay homage to our fallen colleague, the Honorable Deborah Barker.